We hear a lot about vaccines, but what if I told you their power could be supercharged by something found all around us in nature? We're going to talk about a really cool substance called beta-glucan and how it might just be the personal trainer your immune system never knew it needed. This could be a total game changer for the future of vaccination.
So, think about it. A vaccine gives our body a sneak peek of a bad guy, right? It's like a training manual for our immune system. But, sometimes that training needs a little something extra to really sink in, to create that powerful muscle memory. So, what's the secret weapon that makes it all stick?
Well, it's a substance called an adjuvant, and its whole job is to shout at the immune system and say, hey, pay attention to this. It makes the vaccine's lesson louder, clearer, and much more memorable. The personal trainer analogy is just perfect. It's not doing the push-ups for your immune cells, but it's making sure every single rep counts.
And that brings us to our star player, a fantastic candidate for the next generation of adjuvants, beta-glucan. Don't let the name fool you. It's an unassuming but seriously powerful natural compound. So, where does this stuff come from? You're not going to believe it. It is everywhere. It's a type of complex sugar, or polysaccharide, that makes up the cell walls of things we see all the time, like mushrooms, yeast, oats, and even certain kinds of algae and bacteria. We're not talking about some lab-created chemical here. This is a basic building block of life.
Because it's natural and has this incredible talent for tuning our body's defenses, scientists give it a fancy name, a biological response modifier. It doesn't just attack things. Nope. It modulates, it fine-tunes, and it ultimately beefs up our body's natural security system.
Okay, so how in the world does a simple sugar do something so complicated? Well, the answer is in this absolutely fascinating idea in immunology, something called trained immunity.
For the longest time, we thought only the smart part of our immune system, the adaptive system with its T cells and B cells, could form memories. But what beta-glucan does is induce something called trained immunity. It turns out our innate immune system, our body's first responders, the frontline troops, can actually be taught to remember threats. And this training helps them launch a way faster, way stronger counterattack in the future.
And here's how that training session goes down. First, your frontline immune cells spot the beta-glucan. They recognize its pattern, but they also see it's not a real threat, so it doesn't make you sick. It's like a fire drill for your immune system. That drill kicks off this deep, long-lasting reprogramming inside the cell, even changing how its DNA is read. So now, the cell is left in this permanent state of high alert. The next time any kind of threat shows up, these trained cells are ready to spring into action instantly.
Now this is the really cool part. The immunity you get from a childhood vaccine is super specific. It learns to fight measles, and only measles. Trained immunity? It's broad. It's non-specific. It's like teaching your security guards to be way better at spotting any troublemaker, not just one specific guy in a red hat. It involves different cells, the frontline macrophages and monocytes, and gets them primed for a faster, more powerful response to a whole range of new threats.
Now, this isn't just a cool theory. Scientists have been putting beta-glucan through its paces as a vaccine helper, and honestly, the results are really compelling. Let's take a look at the evidence.
And our first piece of evidence comes from a really amazing study from 2020 involving our best furry friends.
So, in this trial, researchers took a group of beagle dogs and gave them a standard rabies vaccine. But one group got an extra ingredient, beta-glucan that came from a type of algae. The results were striking. The dogs who got the beta-glucan, they had a much higher response from their B lymphocytes. And those are the exact cells you need to make antibodies and protect against rabies. It was a fantastic, real-world proof that this training works.
And the story doesn't stop with dogs. The evidence just keeps piling up in other animal studies too. Let's jump over to some key research in mice. A bit earlier, back in 2009, a study used beta-glucan from something super common, baker's yeast, as an adjuvant in mice, and they tested it against two totally different targets, a hepatitis B virus protein and a cancer peptide. The results were just amazing. Not only did it boost antibodies against the virus, but it also helped train the immune system's killer T cells to go after cancer. I mean, that just shows you how versatile this stuff is.
Okay, so we've seen it work in dogs and mice. But what about us? Does it work in humans? Well, to find out, scientists did the next logical thing and tested it directly on human immune cells in the lab.
Right, so in a lab dish, researchers took isolated human immune cells and exposed them to beta-glucan particles, again from yeast. and they watched what happened. The particles immediately stimulated the cells to start pumping out these things called cytokines. You can think of cytokines as the immune system's emergency alert system. They're the signals that yell, "Everybody wake up, we've got a situation." This was direct proof that, yep, beta-glucan can switch on a human immune response.
So let's step back for a second and look at the big picture here. What does this all add up to? We've got this safe, natural compound that can actually train our immune system. What does that really mean for the future?
This matters for a bunch of reasons. First, it's natural and considered incredibly safe. Second, that broad, non-specific training it provides could be a game changer, giving us a higher level of baseline protection. Third, the beta-glucan particles can do double duty. They act as both the trainer and the delivery truck for the vaccine. And finally, when you put all the studies together, the potential we're seeing is consistent, it's powerful, and it is really, really exciting.
And hey, don't just take it from me. The scientists who ran that dog study pointed out just how new this all is. They called their work the very first demonstration of this kind of trained immunity being used as a vaccine booster in dogs. I mean, we are literally watching cutting-edge science unfold.
So, it all boils down to this one incredible question. Could the future of how we vaccinate ourselves be completely transformed by a simple, natural sugar? The evidence is pointing towards a future where our vaccines are safer and way more effective, all thanks to a little help from a trainer found in mushrooms, oats, and yeast. It's an amazing thought, isn't it?